it's heard through social media and everywhere that, especially spread by Western medicine doctors, that Ayurveda doesn't have scientific validation and rigorous testing, and so for this reason it doesn't have the credibility and trust among the public. So the public, when they don't know anything about all this, so when they are listening to these people, naturally they will also think different. So I think it's the need of the hour to clarify this.
To start with, public should be knowing what Ayurvedic science is. Ayurveda is a natural, fundamental and an applied science. So nature of human beings along with their circumstances, in relation with their circumstances is studied, and nature of human beings, laws and rules of pertaining to life, wholesome and unwholesome factors for health and disease, and how to acquire health by removing the disease pathology, etc. are discovered and explained very well in the science of Ayurveda. So, as these are natural dispositions and natural phenomena are discovered with cause-effect relationship, the nature and fundamental principles are unchangeable. It will never change. So what is to be validated is the applied aspects. To do the applied research, scientific validation in the applied aspect, if it is to be done, students or researchers should know the basic practical knowledge or practical aspects of the science, which is lacking in academic education. So today, Shastra is only taught, what the practical aspects are not taught because faculties are also ignorant. Once the modern disease pathologies are comprehended with Ayurvedic principles, the respective treatment principles could be adopted, and the scientific validation could be done in those conditions, which is being done by SBEBA. Reversal of pathology and reversal of a disease in the patient is the only proof of scientific validation. So, if we adopt Western research methodology in Ayurvedic to validate Ayurvedic science, because Ayurveda is a natural and fundamental science which is unlike Western medical system, so you will end up in chaos. What is being practiced in research institutes is adopting Western medical system, and SBEBA pioneers, we have been doing rigorous research, and our outcome is published, and it's being published also in our publications, and we are the source of this knowledge is from Ayurvedic texts, which is thousands of years ancient. As these natural phenomena are discovered, it's never going to change. So the fundamental things and the nature of human beings, nature of interaction, nature of response, they are not going to change. And this is the basic principles are still forever valid as long as human beings remain as human. And the thing which we are updating is the scientific application. For that, SBEBA is doing right now, and it's revealed in our publications.
So validation is fundamentally a process to confirm the accuracy and credibility of what is being tested or validated, whether it could be a treatment, it could be a diagnostic tool, or it could be something related to healing. Fundamentally, the objective of validation of modern medicine and Ayurveda are entirely different. Yeah. Objective of modern medicine is to prove an unknown compound for its benefit risk. How much benefit outweigh risk? Unknown compound it is starting with. Starting point is an unknown compound which is subjected for validation. That is not what is validated in Ayurvedic science. In Ayurveda, treatment and diagnosis validation is beginning with from a basement knowledge. As he told, it is a deterministic science. So it has got a very solid knowledge basement which incorporate the diagnosis and treatment aspects of all the different kinds of diseases which can happen to man as long as man fundamentally exists in the form of man.
With cause mechanism.
With cause mechanism effect relationship. It is explained, proven and established by several logics. So these logics are the fundamental tools for validation of a deterministic science like Ayurveda. That is why in Ayurveda, ancient scientists have told that the best tool for scientific validation is Shastra Sahita Tarko Sadhananam. It is science led. It is not statistics. It is science, means Ayurvedic science led reasoning. And how this reasoning process is to be done, everything is explained, clear cut, research methodologies are explained in detail in Ayurveda. So validation should be done. It is very certain that a 5,000 or more number of years old medical science, how much applicable it is in the present era, how much effective it is in the modern age diseases, modern age patients, modern age names, newly emerging names of infections, how much it is valid. How much it is valid. It is a need of the hour to verify. But that verification should start from science-based approach. And validation in modern medicine is very unethical because it is starting from an unknown compound itself. So first of all, toxicity is studied separately in animals and isolated tissues, and later on it is transferred to man, but still the risk component is so high.
It's starting from unknown compound. Some molecules are beneficial in certain pathological conditions, and it is not to reverse the pathology, but to suppress, block or alter the pathology.
Exactly.
Plus it is blindly given. Randomized controlled trial is done without considering the patient status or disease status, disease strength, patient strength. Nothing is considered. Everything is unknown to them. And first animal study is done to check toxicity, whether it's producing toxin or not, toxicity in the animals or not. Then it is given in human beings and checked for benefit risks. So there is nothing ethical in that, because they are giving for blocking, masking or suppressing the pathology and not to reverse the pathology.
Exactly.
And they are validating our science.
Real world complex phenomena, complex variations which can happen in a human being are not considered. Real world complex phenomena can happen, variations, fluctuations can happen in a dynamic human being. So these individual variations are never considered, and finally some benefit risk is emerged from the data classified, analyzed, and finally it is concluded that this has got this much benefit outweighing risk, if it is, and thereby it is approved, and it is mostly based on vested interest. There can be vested interest playing, but science, Ayurveda fundamentally is science-based medicine. It is not unknown compound-led, unknown treatments, uncertain treatments for benefit risk. Ayurveda has got fundamental solid science, and science doesn't mean testing. Science means knowledge. Knowledge incorporating determinism, that which explains cause-effect relationship. There are no theories in Ayurveda. There are only theorems. Theorems are that which are proven and established. Theories can change from time to time. So this is a major difference in the attitude and approach.
SBEBA is doing scientific validation, and after rigorous research itself, the irony is that the Ayurvedic research, what is happening today, is being scrutinized by Western medical system research methodology, and they don't have any sort of reversal of disease, and they are validating our science, and they are telling that Ayurveda is not scientifically valid. In fact, they are not scientifically valid.
In fact, Western medicine doesn't have anything to show the world that they are giving something to heal the people. So they are going to try an unknown compound. Just imagine an unknown compound against a control.
Without any science.
Without any science. So they need something, minimally something, to prove that this is working. See, this is not healing. This is healing or not is out of question. They just want to check whether it is working to produce some temporary benefit risk in a temporary population for a temporary span of period. And they are calling it scientific validation. nowhere related to science. Science means fundamental knowledge, incorporating the logics, why, how, what, when, where, what is happening with this, what is expected by this, whether healing is achieved, nothing. Just some benefit risk are being studied, and they are in the panel of Ayurvedic
unknown
research.
drugs without any science,
Right.
without any standards. Randomized controlled trial is being done. And finally, they are scientific as they are doing unbiased observations and data is collected and meta-analysis is done. So without science, what meta-analysis is going to do? So what Ayurvedic research needs to modify is they have to adopt Ayurvedic standards to do research. And it has to be validated with Ayurvedic methodology, which is being done by SBEBA and it's published in the publications.
Right.
Nowadays, Western system doctors are publicizing that, or they are making a misunderstanding in public that Ayurveda doesn't have empirical evidence. What's your opinion?
That's what. They are starting from an unknown compound. So they are adopting inductive reasoning from specific to general. So they are observing in a population, they are counting benefit risk. How much people are living, how much people are getting improved in symptoms, etc. etc. And they count that observations, and those observations of data they are classifying, analyzing, interpreting, and temporarily sometimes it is approved or not approved.
So
that is called as empirical evidence. So what they think is that observations more than the logic or theory is considered to be the valid evidence, but it is foolish in Ayurvedic science. Why? Because observation is not material at all unless that observation is backed by certain understanding. If there is no fundamental understanding regarding what you are doing and what it is intended to do in the human subject, if we are merely looking at the people, we will definitely get some observation. That observational data will become valid only when they are backed by, because there should be a connection between premises and the effects, results. Premises means what we are studying, what point we are going to analyze. That should be connected with the results. We should be able to connect between the premises and the effects. With this inductive reasoning, that this biostatistical research, randomized control trial, what they are gathering is mere evidences of observation of benefit risk and not regarding that. That's what that system thinking approach. Multiple factors interplaying in a complex phenomenon. Human being is a highly complex creation of nature. So in that, every individual has multiple factors interplaying within his body. When a drug is administered to that person might be already having other diseases, might be on many drugs, might be on many other processes in lifestyle, in diet, in regimen. All of these will produce an impact in his disease process, for which this masking blocking molecule effect is being analyzed. So it is like completely, there is no systems thinking. Systems thinking is most important in research, especially in human research. We should be able to logically understand the complexity of multiple factors interplaying in a living human being. It's not something like a machine. So that is lacking. And also this causal reasoning. Causal reasoning, cause-effect relationship. There is nothing analyzed in this inductive reasoning like randomized control trial. They are just counting benefit risk.
So they are learning biology, physiology, pathology, etc. But when they come for this management, it's entirely different. Based on some drug administration, they are unbiased observation, and they will be analyzing the data which is observed, which is obtained, and finally making a conclusion based on those observed data. It is not based on science.
And randomized, because every human being can be in a different, might have different internal environment, right? But those subtlemost factors are neglected, and overall effect is being counted. Person is not population. Person and population are entirely different. That is why statistically significant results are not clinically significant, may not be clinically significant, right?
Because
in
it
front
was
of the
done in a
patient.
population.
It was done in a
In
population.
the same population, if you do it afterwards also,
There is no
it will
guarantee.
change.
Yeah.
It will change.
It can be.
And if it is done after 1 month, it will be entirely different also.
So another hallmark of scientificity is unfalsifiability. So they are telling that Ayurveda and tridoshas are not testable, right? They are just metaphysical things. You cannot test, you cannot quantify tridoshas. Like before treatment, this much vata. After treatment, vata is reduced. So you can claim that it is by this treatment that vata got reduced. Like that, we cannot do anything. So they are untestable and unfalsifiable. So for this reason, Ayurveda is pseudoscience. Especially in the case of tridoshas, they are highlighting this. They don't know anything else other than tridoshas. Western medicine doctors who are ridiculing Ayurveda without knowing anything. Their statement I am repeating. Yeah.
From natural phenomena, theorems and principles of Ayurvedic science was discovered. So it's a deterministic science. So it will never go wrong because it is identified from natural phenomena itself. So deductive reasoning is the logic to determine the clinical application. So deterministic science and deductive reasoning is done, and it will never go wrong because always it is done, it is discovered from a natural thing and with laws of nature, and natural phenomena are again repeated. So this will happen naturally only. And tridosha is it is taught in academics also in a wrong way. Whenever pain is happening, that is vata. Burning sensation is happening, that is pitta. Scratching sensation is kapha. So it is taught like that, and it is considered as concepts. Actually, Panchamahabhuta and Tridosha are demonstrable and they are perceptible also.
In human body.
In human body itself. So Panchamahabhuta is basic classification based on 5 kinds of sense organs we are having, special sense organs. When we perceive through 5 special sense organs, there are 5 different kinds of objects. That is the basis for Panchamahabhuta. So Panchamahabhuta is perceptible, they could be sensed. And its functional classification is Tridosha. So in a cell itself, we can identify, which is the structural and functional unit in modern science, we can identify Panchamahabhutas in it very much distinctly and precisely, as well as its functioning also can be assessed. When we are quantifying something, for example, in police department, there is a branch, there is a department subdivision of traffic police. So traffic police, number of police can be quantified, but functioning cannot be quantified. It is by proper functioning or optimum functioning we can assess. Optimum functioning we are assessing, and we are identifying whether the police department is functioning properly or not.
Results of the action. Right?
Yeah. So optimum functioning means there is no traffic jam,
right.
Everything is
Impact
functioning properly. It is not how many vehicles he controlled or how many block he has removed.
Exactly.
In the same way, we can identify, we can quantify everything with Panchamahabhutas, but it is not needed. It is not the required thing. It is not the desired thing. We need to assess it functionally. It is a highly dynamic body. In a dynamic body, we need to assess everything functionally. So those which could be sensed, Panchamahabhutas, are functionally classified as Tridosha, and Tridosha we are assessing for its functional equilibrium, whether optimum functioning is happening. So with that, when we correct that optimum functioning, automatically structures also get corrected. So Tridosha is measurable, but we are doing it in human beings in a different way, as it is highly dynamic and functional classification or dysfunction is to be corrected. For that, Tridosha classification is mandatory. That is why our ancient scientists have made like this. So unfalsifiability doesn't, that is immaterial for a science like Ayurvedic science, which is deterministic, and deductive logics reasoning is done as logics for its clinical application.
is like falsifiability means proving that something is wrong.
Yeah.
Proving that something is wrong is not worth in research, right?
Yeah.
In research, what is required to verify the facts? Verify the facts. What is correct in that? How much it will inspire us to evolve science? How much it will help us? How much the research the inputs which we give in research help us in clarifying things, in confirming these things, and going ahead with further evolution of the applied science. For that, research is meant to be. If we are
as science is meant to assess the natural phenomena.
Yeah.
So in case of gravitation.
Yeah.
So if you do so many researches also, it will not go up.
Natural phenomena.
Gravitation will come down only.
So we have to understand the cause mechanisms.
There is no falsifiability in gravitation. No?
How will natural phenomena can be proved false?
Yeah.
Natural phenomena can never be proven false.
Unfalsifiable is the landmark of a science.
So if it is getting false, there are a lot of things to study.
Yeah.
Why it becomes false, what is to be done exactly where, which mechanism we have understood wrongly. Research is meant to understand and apply logically in Ayurveda.
It
is not meant to market unknown compounds for benefit risk and claiming that we have proven drugs and I am sorry to say, to cheat people that there are proven drugs. People do not know what is getting proven, what is the benefit risk ratio. They don't know anything about proven drug means they think that it is proven for healing and it will protect them. That is their belief because they are ordinary people. So we have to tell the truth by this falsifiability, what exactly Western medicine means by falsifiability. Proving wrong, proving wrong, proving wrong. Every time something is getting proven wrong, then
first itself proof is not based on science.
Yeah.
So falsifiability is hallmark of unscientific practice.
Unscientificity or pseudoscience, I would say. And also these tridoshas and everything what is explained in Ayurveda, tridoshas, as he told, it is functional classification of structures. There are objective rational standards to explain human being subjective variations in the human beings. Objective rational standards to explain the subjective variations of human beings. So it is possible to explain which among tridoshas are involved in this samprapti and what kind of diagnosis is done led by tridosha in particular disease and what treatment logic is applied in this particular clinical situation in particular patient to rectify that dosha vitiation and how the disease. It is not only dosha vitiation. There are many things involved in pathogenesis of a disease, among which the major factor is dosha, but there are many multiple interconnected components in diagnosing a patient and a disease. What these people know are only tridoshas and they think that it is metaphysical element. Their knowledge of Ayurveda is negative and they are not scared to authentically speak nonsense about Ayurveda.
With this Panchamahabhuta and Tridosha, we can know deeply, more widely, more precisely biology, biochemistry, physiology, pathology, everything better than them.
Yeah. We are treating a dengue fever by 5,000 years old logic of science. Yeah. We are treating COVID-19 by a logic which is 5,000 years old.
It will never go wrong.
After 5,000 years also the same logic works because it's a human being, fundamentally a human being. That is what consistency, rationality, innate scientificity, etc. It's not possible to attain such a kind of precision level of scientificity by doing this kind of randomized control blinded trials even after 1,000 years.
So,
they do not know
falsifiable question doesn't arise?
Yeah, this is deciphered by Karl Popper, one scientist. And nowadays it is accepted, like if any person deviates in Western community, I know some friends who challenge this concept, but nobody will listen to them. They are sidelining them. This is the accepted level of scientificity by WHO. Who is WHO to approve Ayurveda? What do they know about the identity and scientificity and mode of attitude and approach of Ayurvedic science? I don't know what is their knowledge about Ayurveda to approve, to judge Ayurveda or approve or disapprove Ayurveda.
This is ignorant people confusing others.
Really, and that is spoiling.
Nowadays, it is considered that there is secrecy in practice of Ayurvedic science.
Yeah.
What's your
So
opinion?
I have heard certain doctors telling like that. One doctor who is constantly ridiculing and defaming Ayurvedic system. He used to tell that some hidden herbs and formulations. According to him, these herbs are all like Ayurveda. Ayurveda is science-based medicine.
Yeah.
Ayurveda has got an innate knowledge base meant to guide the rational identification of disease, identification of patient, confirmation of standards, confirmation of diagnosis and treatment in a patient. There are rational steps within Ayurveda. We don't treat jaundice by a single herb or a
So medicine-based practitioners like folklore
Folklore
treatment or
treatment.
herbal treatment
Yeah.
or traditional
All these-
medicine.
All these confusions are emerging because Ayurveda doctors themselves are calling Ayurveda as
traditional
tradition.
medicine.
So there is no wonder such
So
things
some
are.
compounds or some formulations will be given to some medical condition, some
Yeah.
clinical condition,
Right.
and it's transferred from generation to generation.
Through generation, belief.
Western medical system is also doing the same,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Means some
Observation
people,
based.
means they are giving some medicine,
The
and
only difference is observation based belief.
they also don't have any science behind that. They are suppressing.
No,
of
they
the-
have science, but they are no way applying whatever limited science, analytic, reductionist
So
science.
it's just
they are
observation only.
Yeah.
Means
Drug
they are
application.
giving, and it's found in a population,
Right.
and that need not happen in this population
No
or
guarantee.
this subject.
No guarantee.
And those medicine-based practitioners, based on that, they are telling that there are some secrets.
Yeah.
Ayurveda is science-based medicine, and everything is decided by science. How to
Everything
diagnose,
is approved
what
by-
treatment principle is to be applied,
Yeah.
how to select medicine, how to apply that medicine,
Yeah.
and how to check the response. Everything is decided by
No pharma
science.
companies can adulterate our practice if the practitioner is ethical, honest, and scientific practitioner. Nothing can adulterate the scientific practice of Ayurveda because there are innate rational standards to confirm everything step by step. So it is purely ignorance.
So secret, if somebody wants to know, let them learn science.
Yeah, that's the. So this is one genuine thing, and I agree with these critics because they are telling that there are no standards for doing research and repeatability in Ayurveda. So it can be considered as what else other than pseudoscience.
Actually, this criticism might have come from academic institutions, by seeing academic institutions. So they are not following any standards of Ayurveda, they are blindly following Western system.
Even research institutes also.
Yeah. So everything like diagnosis of a disease, it's very well, very clear. It is mentioned. Tasmad vikara prakriti adhisthana andrani samuthana visheshamsha. So you need to know rogam ekekam evam prakopanam evam yonim evam utthanam evam adhishthanam evam atmanam evam. So many things are mentioned. So how to standardize diagnosis, how to determine a treatment principle. Tasmin niyam pradigarartha pravritti athava nivritti. So it is very well explained how to understand a disease, how to determine a treatment principle, how to select a medicine according to the treatment principle. Asmin vyadau evam vitasya purushasya edavantam dosham abharatyupashameda. Very specific. So that much specific standards are there, how to choose medicine are there, and more than that, we will be assessing the patient's strength, patient status also is considered, along with whether they will be able to tolerate this much medicine, how to administer medicine in this status.
Yeah.
Everything is standardized.
Yeah.
Everything. Sarvatha sarvam alochya. Yatha sambhavam arthavit. You have to quantify these objective parameters, subjective parameters also. Atha atyavasya tatvecha karyecha tadanandaram. And jnana buddhi pradipena. It is not one's buddhi. It is jnana buddhi. Jnana buddhi means shastra buddhi. You need to apply science. and Jnanabuddhi Pradipena yo na avishadi tattvavit. They should know Ayurvedic principles. Which principle is to be applied? Diagnostic principle. Which treatment principle is to be applied? Aturasya Andaratmanam. He will be knowing everything regarding that patient, not only the disease, everything regarding the patient also. Na sarokams chikilsadi. So this much standards are mentioned and this much reproducibility. When they are following the standards, there will be definitely reproducibility will also be there. And this science with Western parameters, they are telling that there are no standards.
The two things which hallmark of scientificity are transparency and reproducibility. We should be able to explain what this diagnosis is in this patient with regard to the components by employing the scientific standards within the medical science. We should be able to explain in a standardized manner, and that applies to all identical status patients in every place, and it should be uniformly diagnosed. And treatment also, standardized logics are explained in Ayurveda as explained, referred by him. There are rational standards for precision diagnosis and treatment of disease, patient and treatment. Three things: disease, patient and treatment. And these standards will count for transparency. Transparency will be answerable by the component of transparency is proved and verified and established by these diagnostic rational standards. Regarding reproducibility, in Western medicine, the results of benefit risk are tested to be reproduced or not. How stupid, no?
So when something is blocking, masking, so it will definitely block and mask and produce various benefits and various
sometimes
risks.
In the same population it can be different based on individual variations, multiple factors interplaying in the same subject. It can be different even in the same population in a different period, right? So, but they are considering that reproducibility of data, of results are ultimate scientificity. What is to be reproduced? The logics, the rational standards and logics explained in the science. Why this condition is diagnosed as this? It is not modern medicine diagnosis. In Ayurveda it is different. It is patient oriented, highly precise disease diagnosis and patient diagnosis. So why, what, when, where, how, why not here, why there, everything is explained by the innate rational logics within the science. That is why ancient Ayurveda scientists told Shastra Sahita Tarko Sadhananam. It is not data of inconsistency that may vary from individual to individual from time to time. That is based on blind observations led by a hypothesis. Inductive reasoning, that is silly and stupid. In Ayurveda, Amudha Balam Apnodi Yad Amoha Nimittajam. Once you are aware of the rational knowledge standards within the science, you are able to apply them correctly to attain accurate diagnosis. And Amudha means one who is clear cut, clear perception and clear intelligence in science will attain intended effects, not just an irrational couple of benefit risk, uncertainty led benefit risk. Amoha nimittajam, without confusion. So inducing confusion is pseudoscience. A real science is intended to remove confusion. There is precision science like mathematics, physics.
The problem with that, their terminology, scientific temper. They use scientific temper for a hypothesis based one unknown drug given in unknown status of a patient, and unbiased observation is considered as scientific temper.
That too for
without any
masking.
preconceived intention. If somebody is observing, it is considered as scientific temper.
Right.
How foolish it is, because there is no science behind that, and what the objective is to block, mask, alter supplement something.
It is actually modern medicine that methodology is in the first level itself not approved by Ayurvedic science. Ayurveda is the science of human being.
So, it is to reverse a disease.
It's meant to heal a patient. heal a patient.
Healing-
Not doing adjustment but treatment.
Healing depends on prognostic standards,
Yeah.
but it should reverse the mechanism.
Cause mechanisms
Yeah,
of the disease.
110%.
So it's not approved by Ayurvedic science.
So when they claim that Ayurveda is not having reproducibility, it is their problem only.
Yeah.
Another misconcept is Ayurvedic science is unable to be evaluated in the lens of Western system, and research methodology is not possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Language barrier is there.
What's your say on
It's
that?
a language is Sanskrit.
Yeah.
So Sanskrit is not known to
Western.
Not only Western community,
Yeah,
Indians
even-
also. Even to Indians also. And it's not that Sanskrit knowledge is not enough. You should understand science by Sanskrit knowledge.
Yeah.
So that is another complication. So because of these problems, when something is not able to be comprehended, does that mean that it is pseudo or it is something which is to be rejected? Those people who consider that are originally foolish, because they cannot comprehend something written in a different language and in a different perception. It is pseudo. When they consider like that,
Yeah.
who else other than them is pseudo?
Yeah.
There itself an answer lies. So it is a necessity that a medical science has to get exposed in its own terms and its own identity, scientific identity.
Yeah.
For that, it is a professional duty of
It is must
Ayurveda
for
community.
them to learn Ayurvedic scientific
So for
methodology.
that, Ayurvedic professionals are to emerge, evolve, and establish the standards of
When
Ayurveda.
they try to prove themselves in front of Western system, they fail and they will be ridiculing
Exactly.
Ayurvedic
Exactly.
physicians.
Because they will.
One more thing,
Yeah.
Ayurveda lack peer-reviewed research publications and they don't have funds also.
Yeah, so while reading peer review, I was just recollecting what Richard Smith, Professor Richard Smith wrote in British Medical Journal, who wants to read something that doesn't work. So most of the cases will be converted to proven form of evidence. Like whenever a negative evidence comes, that will be converted. Professor Richard Smith, you know very well. He's a former editor and he's an honest scientist. He was criticizing peer review like this, who wants to read something that doesn't work. So that his own statement I am telling. So there are no objective, consistent and reliable standards for peer review. That is the real situation in Western medicine. In Ayurveda there is no question, because there are no
Peers.
rational standards even known to people of Ayurveda. So there is
there are no
question.
peers.
So there are no peers in Ayurveda. But in Western medicine, peer review means there should be all these journals and articles are to be reviewed against certain standards, innate standards. There should be consistency, rationality, nothing is there. So most of the times PAL review, it is becoming like PAL review. They will send to, editor will send this to two friends who are in the same field. Who are these peers? First of all, they are also experts.
Yeah.
They are not born from the sky. They are also human beings with their own limited knowledge, their own chances of errors. So that's why one scientist, I don't remember him, he had written, he was an editor of Lancet, the Lancet journal. He also wrote that many coins are thrown from the staircase. Those which are reaching down will be taken up. Like that, many papers are thrown from the staircase. Those which are reaching down will be published. The rest will be unpublished. I don't remember the scientist's name. So this is what they are
Actually,
doing.
in Ayurvedic science, the researcher is clinician. Clinician needs to
Understand.
have proper understanding of science. But in Western science, researchers are another set of people, and they will be doing blinded studies and hypothesis and everything. And finally, the benefit risk status meta-analysis will be done, and it will be published in a journal
Exact copy.
to get it approved as a scientific medicine,
Right.
or it's drug only if it is approved also. These peers are another set of these researchers. They know the scientific temper, scientific method and all, Western scientific method.
Biostatistical.
They know only that much.
Yeah.
So they are not analyzing whether this is done in a scientific manner. Scientific manner means biology, physiology, how it is related to their circumstances, food, medicated water, climatic changes, how they are responding to that. If they are knowing those natural phenomena and their relationship with their environment, then it could be considered as scientific. So without anything, one blind drug administration without modulating the food with which our internal environment is made, food and water with which our internal environment is made is not at all changed, and blindly one drug administration not to reverse the pathology but to suppress the pathology, to suppress the symptom, and it is considered by another set of researchers who doesn't know anything about scientific aspects, and it is published in a peer-reviewed journal, means it is a set of rubbish thing.
So the thing is that I used to say this always, Ayurveda requires science-approved process, science review process,
Acharyas.
Ayurvedic science review process, because within the science there are rational standards to explain the credibility of the science, to verify facts, whether the article is written, whether it is a case study or whether it is an article or logical thing, whatever it is. The credibility can be verified only by using the rational standards explaining the science. So Ayurveda requires science review process.
So
all the
Acharyas,
peers are to attain clear-cut knowledge in science review process.
So science will be scrutinizing whether
all the
their
articles,
research was
credible or not. Exactly.